We had spoken the other day about law and logic. In fact, I understand that your course is not really a course on law and logic. It's just purely a course on logic, which I think is quite relevant because we, in our entrance exams that lead us to the law school, study logic only. So the law entrances, most of the law entrances really don't test you on law, they test you on logic. And the rationale for that is that, well, without a sense of logic, one can't be a good lawyer. But once you get into law school, and I'm talking about the 5-year integrated law programs, you really don't study logic at all. You just get into the law. So it's a case of logic having been exalted at the stage of the entrance exam. And once you get into the law school, there is no mention of logic at all. And that, I believe, is one of the great advantages of the BA Legal Studies program, that it talks about logic, not just law and logic. It talks about logic. And we trust that it makes us better at understanding the law and at understanding things around us. Is there something that you'd like to say about this law and logic? Something that you can share with us?
Yeah, in fact, I think um being from the CBSE board, all I was made to do was to mug up things and vomit it in my final exam. But I think what is important here is that a course like logic isn't even there in LLB or in the integrated batch. That just happens to be in BLS, um, and it's great that it's actually in the first semester. It's not even in the second semester or in the last semester. It's actually in the first semester, and then that's perhaps one of the first classes that you attend in BLS. And I think what logic does is that it gives you something to think about, right? Because I think words are not merely meant to just be thrown out of your mouth. I think words have a meaning. It's a tool for you to express your argument, express your opinions. And unless you have that logicality in what you say, I don't think you can make a plausible argument in front of your friends, let alone the judge. But I think that is very important. I think the application of logic is very important. In fact, when I attended the classes, I got to know that uh, you derive an argument through formulas. You know there's a formula P1 upon P2 would be equal to conclusion or an argument, and I as soon as I saw like that, I was like, well, I didn't join Jindal for the maths, and I was very nervous that math will never leave my. But yeah, I mean, it's the application of logic is also very mathematical, right?
Very
It,
true.
it it does involve math. So I mean, it would have been obvious for anyone to decide that if you're studying logic, then obviously math would be there somewhere or the other.
Right. And I think more than getting the logic of it, it was to identify what is illogical. So the other day, you were speaking to me about the difference between rhetoric and an argument. Can you kind of take me through that once again?
Yeah, I
I think that was
think
in
I
Professor
think that is
Mansi's class, I think, that you were speaking of.
right. Right. That
Right.
was in Professor Mansi's class, and that is something that still stays with me. And I think that is one of the most important things, because there's a very fine line between rhetoric and an argument, and an argument will have a combination of ethos, pathos, logos, but how you combine that with logic is what makes an argument. An argument will comprise of these things, but it is what you make of those three segments will, give you a plausible conclusion, or will give you, an argument. But I think rhetoric is just, I think rhetoric just sounds good in Shakespeare's poetry. I think apart from Shakespeare's writing, I don't think rhetoric is very interesting to hear, especially by people who make laws for us, especially by our legislators who run this country. And when they rely on rhetoric to make an argument, I think it's very concerning, because I think 19-year-olds have a better understanding of arguments than those people. Well, it's not their fault that they didn't got admission in BLS, but I think they can still work on it.
I think that was
That was very shameless promotion of my batch, but okay. Sorry, I happen to be the batch representative. I can't help it.